All right, we want to go back to Washington and bring back in our guest, Orlando Watson, who is the Communications Director for Black Media with the Republican National Committee, and he is there. We can see you. Speak to us, Orlando. Make sure we can hear you.
Hey, Debbie. How are you?
Now we got you. Apologize for that technical glitch, but we want to take a minute or two to talk to you before we let you go. So, Orlando, let me just ask you this question. You know, there's been a thesis that's been put forward that in order for the Democrats to keep the U.S. Senate in this midterm election is for the black vote to turn out. And as we well know, the Republican Party has had a major outreach to the African-American community, particularly in the last year or so, to try to engage more black people in the conservative agenda. So here's my question. Is it difficult to get black folk to believe Republicans care about them when there is legislation like in Texas that restricts access to voting, which usually inordinately affects the African-American community?
Short answer, absolutely not. In fact, black voters aren't one-issue voters. They care about a number of issues, from jobs in the economy to education. Now, you posed the question earlier, or the thesis, that if Democrats wanted to take back this or control the Senate, they needed the black vote. What they need are policies that work. Democrats and President Obama since 2008 and 2012 have run on hope and change, yet their policies have failed people. Black voters are now disappointed, disillusioned, and disapprove of the job that they're doing. Since 2012, black voters' disapproval rating of President Obama has doubled. And so what it's done is created an opportunity for us as Republicans to come in and share a positive message of economic growth, jobs now, and quality education for children.
Orlando, I really don't want to have to do this, and that is to be the other side. But since we let Andre go, so let me just play the other side's advocate to the thesis that you're putting forth. I understand what the policies and the talking points of the Republican Party are, but the fact is the economy is recovering. There were more jobs added in the last quarter than have been added in the last 8 years. That now insurance is accessible to Americans that haven't had it sometimes in their whole life, and many of them are women, children, and African Americans. So the Republican Party has to at least admit that there has been some progress. You've just been begrudged to want to admit it. Isn't that true?
Let me give you a shameful statistic, 11.6%. That's the unemployment rate for black women today. It's double the national average. We've got to reverse that trend, and it starts with addressing the economic and educational disparities that exist and have been created, and it's this cycle that Democrats continue to promote. We need conservatives and Republicans who believe in educational choice and school choice for our children, and with solutions to create jobs now. And we see that across the country. But what we were doing at the Republican National Committee, we've hired, since nearly 2 years ago, engagement staffers. These are people from the community who live in the community and work in the community to be advocates of our message, and it's paying off.
But, Orlando, isn't it hard to get a group of people to believe that you are interested in what they're interested in when the party has championed efforts to restrict voting, which inordinately affects lower income and black folk?
I wouldn't put it that way. Again, that's one issue. In fact, when it comes to voter ID law, there's a recent poll out that shows the majority of black Americans do agree that voters should show some sort of ID before they go to vote. But when we talk about these other issues like school choice, creating jobs now so people have more money to put gas in their car, or food on the table, we win because Republicans are out front leading on these issues, and that's why Democrats are now scrambling with last-minute appeals to black voters in the final months of this election, whereas we've been laying the groundwork for more than a year.
All right, Orlando Watson, we're going to leave it right there. We'll come back and have a more robust debate with another guest as soon as we get a chance. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Debbie.